everyone, my name is Cupid and I am here with our lovely guest Shiva of Times Change Women Employment. Thank you so much for coming here, Shiva.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. My name is Shiva Maleki. I am an employment counselor at Times Change Women's Employment Service.
Tell us a bit about yourself, about the role at Times Change Women Employment Service.
I work with clients in a one-on-one and in groups setting. I help them based on the needs they have. If it is career planning, if they're not clear about their goals, we do assessment, occupational research, vocational tools that we use until they are clear and they make a decision. If they know what kind of work they're looking for, we help them with job search tools like resumes, cover letters, interview coaching, anything in their job search that needs support.
What are some useful tips to start networking within a specific industry?
Networking is an intimidating topic, but it doesn't have to be. I usually look at networking as people talking to people for a specific purpose. Mm-hmm. It is that purpose that first has to be clarified. So if we expect our network to give us a job, that is not realistic. But if we expect them to give us information, resources, to be our mentor, give us feedback, that is more realistic. So I would say the first step in networking is to clarify the purpose. What are you looking for? What is the ideal outcome you have out of this interaction? The other thing is that not everyone in our network is the same. There are different levels to one's network. The first level is people who are known to you, you have rapport with them. The second level is in between people who can give you information, point you to resources, referrals. And the last level is the decision makers in career networking. Mm-hmm. That is the level you want to get to. And everyone in your network has a purpose. So everyone is valuable. Making a list of everyone in your network and an elevator pitch or a script, which is different for reaching out to different levels of your network, and being ready to say that, making it sure that you don't ask for a job, you don't ask for an interview, but you ask for people's advice, guidance.
Can you share any advice on how to find work with limited to no work experience?
Absolutely. Each individual has their own barriers or areas of concern in job search. For one can be insufficient work experience, or one could be lack of education, or some people might perceive age as a barrier. But I think it all comes down to why would sufficient inexperience be a concern? Because you are not familiar with that kind of work, you might not be able to perform well. So I would look at anything else in my life that would compensate for that. One of the things is transferable skills, for example. Mm-hmm. So I would look at what are the skills that this job requires, look at the job posting, and have I ever used these skills? In what context? Do I have examples? Things like problem solving, communication skills, interpersonal skills that you can use in any situation. The other areas are education. So if I haven't got the experience, do I have the education or the training or the knowledge base? I might have read a book about it. I might have taken a course online and know about it. If I haven't done it, that's what I have. Also, other tips would be if looking for entry-level jobs, or looking for jobs that do not require that kind of experience in the right industry, and working your way up, because those jobs usually have lower requirements for experience. And when you're job searching, you can enter entry level or junior in your keywords, and that would give you more entry level jobs. So I would look at anything done in school, for example, school projects, co-op placements, even assignments. So all of that would be showing the employer that, yes, I don't have the direct experience, but I have the knowledge, the skills, the personality to excel at this job.
Going off of job experience, I know that writing cover letters can be intimidating. Do you have any advice on how to write cover letters for potential employers?
Yes, I always say, even if the job posting doesn't ask for cover letters, always send a cover letter unless there is no room to upload or they specifically say don't send a cover letter. Because a cover letter personalizes the impersonal resume. We always say, even in resumes, personal pronouns don't have, you shouldn't have them. But a cover letter is in full sentences. You use I, you use your company. So it's a letter. A letter tells a story, it's personal. So it shouldn't repeat anything from the resume, not duplicating, it complements a resume. Always send a targeted cover letter for every job posting and not sending a generic one to every job. Researching the company and really reading and analyzing the job posting and asking yourself, how do I match these qualifications? Sometimes I even say, like, draw a table. This is what the job asks for. Experience, education, skills, personality, and this is how I meet them. And these are the things that I lack or where there are gaps. And that gives you a platform to know what to highlight. A cover letter should be short, 1 page usually, 3 to 4 paragraphs, and follows a system of first paragraph really showing your interest and making a statement about you meeting the qualifications for the job. And the second and the third paragraph usually talk about the match. That story of connecting the dots and how do I match the qualifications you're looking for. And in the last paragraph, you're thanking them for their time and consideration, and you ask for an interview. Many people do not ask for an interview in a cover letter. I think that's the main point of a cover letter. That's what you want out of this interaction.
I know I've definitely made that mistake. And speaking of mistakes, what are some red flags to look out for when looking at jobs from employers?
I would say lack of enough information about the company. Like, where is the company? Does the company exist? What do they do? What is their history? What is the job? So lack of transparency and clarity around the job responsibilities. So when you are accepting a job offer, you should know what you're accepting. What is a typical day like? If they're not able to answer questions about that, about a typical day, about who do I report to, about those things, the core skill sets this job requires, then that's a red flag. Other red flags could be differences between what they say at the beginning and what they say later on, or what appears on the written contract. If they told you one thing about the job and then you see something else written in the contract, that is a red flag. Unorganized hiring process. Changing interview times often, or different people getting back to you and not following through. Also very rushed when they want you to make a very rushed decision. But you have to let us know tonight. I mean, you can't take forever to make a decision, but it is reasonable to ask them for a little bit of time to think about things. And if they ask for money, right? So when they offer you a job, you shouldn't be paying anything. And you should be able to know who you're working with, what you will be doing, what company you're doing it for, and having clear information about that.
Speaking of clear information, the site LinkedIn has been growing in popularity these days for employment. How can that be put to use?
They say that now about the majority of employers, recruiters, even ordinary people look each other up on LinkedIn before even screening resumes and asking people for interviews. They check LinkedIn. So definitely, I think it's very important to have a strong online presence, LinkedIn being the professional context of that. I would go to LinkedIn itself for a resource on best profile practices, etc., because there's a lot of resources on the website of LinkedIn about how to do a good statement, how to do a great headline, and all of that. They have a whole guide for having a great profile on LinkedIn. But I would say updating it regularly, using it for more than cliche sayings or wordings, and like, for example, the title, the headline shouldn't just be your job title. It should have something of your personality in it, and like what is the value that you're offering, as well as instead of just saying I'm an administrative professional. Professional photo. Also, there is a list of skills that you can tick off, like these are the skills that I would bring. Asking for recommendations from people that know you on LinkedIn. Personalizing your messages when you're inviting people to become your connections. LinkedIn gives you a formatted, I'd like to add you to my LinkedIn connections, but you can personalize that. You can, because people are more likely to respond to that when someone has taken the time to look them up, is telling them why they're interested in this connection.
Mentioning connections, are there any overall employment trends that we should be aware of?
The pandemic has impacted everything in the economy and hiring processes, and job search is not an exception. So I would say, like, remote work, flexible work is here to stay. A lot of the companies after the pandemic went back either fully remote or in a hybrid format. And that, based on a lot of surveys, even at Times Change, we did a survey with our clients and with our staff. There is a strong preference for keeping it hybrid, to have that in person plus that the comfort and convenience of remote work. So that is one thing. Plus all other, in general, flexible work. That offers people work-life balance, because people have experienced that it has become more important than before the pandemic. Other things that have changed is using AI and technology in hiring. So prior to the pandemic, the applicant tracking systems, the software, was not used this widely by employers, but now most of medium to large companies are using that. So there are things you need to know for your resume to get past applicant tracking system. So those are very important to know. It's not enough to say, like, it's formatted well. For example, if your resume is in columns, ATS cannot read it, only reads left to right, right? So there are little things that people have to know, and there are also virtual interviews. So being familiar with all of those. Like I said, work-life balance is more important. So employees are researching, they are doing more value-based research and finding out companies that are more in line with their value system.
Speaking of being in the know, do you happen to have any resources for youth employment?
I would start with the federal, provincial, and local governments, because each of them has a very comprehensive resource for youth and students. The federal government, the National Job Bank website, has a part on, like, you can look at the summer jobs. They have the summer jobs whole section. They also have a whole list of different programs that they have for youth. For example, Youth Job Connection. There are programs that are for young entrepreneurs. There are programs that offer mentorship, internship for youth. So all of the programs are listed there. The City of Toronto also has the same specific programs related to the municipal government for young people. And also there are agencies, employment service providers, like Times Change is a women's employment service, young and at no matter what age women are, but there are agencies that are mandated to serve youth. For example, Youth Employment Services. And many of the bigger organizations like JVS Toronto or COSTI or YMCA have specific youth programs. So I would recommend, and they have access to a whole range of different, they know about like different programs for trades, for, that are, because a lot of programs are being funded now just to help youth get back to a trade or to the workplace and find meaningful work.
Thank you so much for your time, Shiva. Your answers were lovely.
That's great. Thank you for having me here.